You have an appointment at 3 for what, David?
Buyer's appointment at 3 o'clock.
Oh, I thought you were going to say haircut.
And also I have to get ready. That includes the shower. Yep.
Oh, so you came to me unshowered?
No. It's just I didn't come to you with a suit or with the bow. But trust me, the quality is here. The quality is here.
I believe you, and I saw entirely new quality. Insert TikTok here. Of you making an ice cream run in unusual clothing, David.
We're risk takers. That's
pretty sure that went viral. You know, you didn't mention the pregnant wife part in the TikTok. That makes it even more endearing.
Yeah, no.
Or was the ice cream really for you? That's the question.
No, it was supposed to be for all of us, and they left me out there to go inside and go by myself, and nobody wanted to get down the car. I was praying that there was nobody there, and there was nobody there, so I made a quick run for it with my rope.
I wish you could have seen my boys. So like my boys, we happened to be together when it popped up in my feed, and I showed it to them. And they did not realize till the very end that it was you. I didn't tell them it was you.
Oh,
so
really?
They were already like rolling and like, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And then you took off the mask at the end and they were like, what? So I think your cool factor went way up with that one.
That's funny. No, so we were driving, we were coming back home, and then we said, we really felt, you know what? Amy's ice cream, we just need to make a pit stop right now. And then nobody wanted to get down because they were all not dressed to impress. So here I am with my rope, not prepared. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take one for the team. But you know, when you're getting in to the parking lot and you're thinking, hey, I really hope there's nobody there. And you try to go like a ninja, right? With your disguise and everything. I went in, ran to the door. And then, hey, you need to cover up. I'm like, come on, man, really? And so I went back and grabbed my mask, and then they thought it was hilarious. So
when they said cover up, they were talking about your mask? No, they wanted you to like put more clothes on?
So I went and got the mask. So I think that made their day, and they were able to serve me.
It is so funny. It is so funny and brave, and a side of you I had not seen before. Definitely never seen you in your robe, but it was great.
Out of my comfort zone for sure.
Was that her laughing? Was she taking the video?
Yeah, it was my wife and my sister-in-law and my daughter in the back.
Because them laughing like totally made it.
Yeah, no, they were having a blast, and while I was out there sweating it for sure.
That is awesome. Well, made my day for sure. So that's exciting.
How's your day going?
Well, we were a little grumpy here. Well, we as in Liam Burritt. No, not me. Liam Burritt, because he wanted a delay of school start. And really all the districts around us except ours had a delay this morning. We did not. And so we go outside and my car is basically a block of ice. So we were late to school because it took us a while to like chip it out. So that just made him a little grumpy, but that's okay.
But honestly, don't you think people here in Texas overdo it? Like it's just a little bit of ice.
Well, the problem is, remember, I grew up in the Northeast with a lot of snow and went to college in Ithaca. The problem is the tires here, like most of us don't have tires for snow and ice. But also they don't salt the roads like they do up north. They'll sometimes brine the road, which is really interesting because it's just like a salty water is what they're doing. But if there's enough rain or precipitation, that just kind of washes away. So that's like, it's not the safest thing, brining the roads. That makes us laugh when we hear that.
No, yeah, you have to be safe. I mean, I went out. I actually went out to your area at 9 or 9:30 at night to close a house, open up a door, and open up the faucets to let the water drip on a house that we have in Leander.
Done that for you.
It was 9 o'clock at night. It was like 9:30, and I knew that if I asked for the favor, I will be in debt forever with you. So no, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Gonna say that is not my personality.
9:30. Were you sleeping or not?
No, I was wide awake.
You're awake? Damn. How do you do it? You wake up so early and then go to sleep so late.
It's been hard. I have been stretching it in the morning, like pushing it as close. Yeah, that has been bad. And I had mentioned to you before, we have college friends visiting, and I'm so excited to see them. But I was doing some laundry for Liam, and he usually does his own laundry. So this is me just like, I'm here, I'm sprucing up.
You ain't gotta lie.
No, he really does.
He does it?
I will say all three of my kids really kind of started to do their own laundry without really much urging. So I'm grateful for that. But needless to say, my washer's leaking. And I don't know where from. I just went in there to put the wash into the dryer, and there was like a puddle on the floor. And I thought maybe something just got stuck in the door, but then I ran like a light quick cycle and it did it again. So I don't know what's going on. And Tom's leaving town. So that's the way it always works. Things break whenever Tom needs to leave or is out.
How unfortunate for Tom. No, but if it's a leak, it should be an easy fix.
I hope so. These aren't that old. These, they're maybe 2-3 years old.
Yeah, hopefully it's just a hose.
I hope. Anywho, but yesterday I got out and I went to visit Redhorn. So if you're ready, I'd like to talk about our highlight.
What is the highlight of the day?
Highlight of the week,
Through your fingers.
Woohoo! Well, this is also clapping in sign language. That's how they clap. Isn't that cute?
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Anywho, so Redhorn has been around for 7 years, and I know that now because I talked to the manager, who is like this adorable girl with purple hair, but she wasn't comfortable being filmed on camera. And so I respected her feelings on that. But she did tell me, Redhorn opened up, their first location is on Parmer or like Ronald Reagan Parmer, where Ronald Reagan becomes Parmer, and 1431 in Cedar Park. And they actually, over there, they opened 7 years ago. In March, it'll be 7 years. And they roast their own beans and stuff. They're a coffee roaster and a brewery for beer. And so in the last year, they have opened up a location on 183A, a little farther north in Leander. So 183A in Crystal Falls area, technically 183A and Scottsdale. And there it's a much bigger facility, and they actually have, you can see, I'll show in the video I'm about to drop in here. There you can see where they're actually doing their brewing and stuff. So
man, that is awesome.
It is so cool.
I imagine go ahead.
No, they're surviving the pandemic. They have very dedicated fan base, and hoping to open more places. The vibe is just really cool. They have live music for sure in the Cedar Park location. At the Leander location, they do a Geeks Who Drink thing on Monday nights. It's like a trivia thing. Actually, I think they do that at both locations.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Do they, number one, that they do their own process, that's freaking amazing. I always wonder, number one, for coffee, how they do it. Do you know by any chance where they get their beans from? No,
I should have asked. I bet my husband would know, though.
Because they always say the best coffee comes from Colombia, but
Well,
we have to see.
I will say they have my favorite coffee. So Tom's really, really into coffee, hardcore. If he could do
Yeah, I know.
anything, he'd probably like own a coffee shop. And
You keep on telling me that I have to go and try the coffee in the mornings.
I just love it. I love it so much. But they also have it's always been a fun family place for us over the years. They have big tables and games. And there's picnic tables outside at both locations. So if you're not comfortable with being inside, there's outside seating.
Also outside seating, great.
Yeah.
I have to go.
But we used to just, routinely on a Saturday, if it was like a slow weekend, we would just go get our drinks there and hang out. And they always have good food too. This one time, this is a famous Burritt story, so I might as well tell it myself before some Burritt kid runs in and tells it anyway. And that is that it was a Saturday, the place was booked, and this was the Cedar Park location a few years ago. And we were playing a game, and I had like a glass of water and a cup of coffee. So I wasn't drinking alcohol. It was just coffee and water. And we were playing a game, and we were playing Uno. This is a very heated game of Uno. And I reacted.
Uno stands for one. I'm learning Spanish.
Oh, good. Good job. And they, so like something unexpected happened. And so I went like this. And when I did that, I tipped my coffee cup, which hit my water cup, which went like rolling and then crashed to the ground because they have a cement floor there. Ooh. So it was like, crash, crash, crash. Everybody stops and turns around and looks. And I wanted to die. And my two boys were like losing their minds laughing so hard. And then we got in the car a little while later, and Aiden had been thinking about it the whole time. And he goes, dang it, Mom, you missed an opportunity. I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you could have been like Thor and said, I'll have another. So that's like, they're always saying that was my missed opportunity. I could have.
That is funny. That is pretty cool.
Hammed it up.
I love those movies. You mentioned something really, really interesting. You mentioned that they're surviving through the pandemic, right? But honestly, I gone to several businesses, and man, they are thriving. I mean, what pandemic? Really? What pandemic? Businesses are packed. It's like, when people tell you, hey, don't do something, and then in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Don't go out, stay at home. And it's kind of like telling people, hey, you have to go out and you have to go to every single restaurant. It's crazy the amount of business that's happening out there right now, because it doesn't seem that we're in a pandemic. What's up? So what is our topic of the day?
Well, our topic is really, we started with like healthy eating and exercise and blah, blah, blah. But I think really our topic is just eating for longevity. I think that's the idea behind the conversation we want to have today, because, everybody thinks their diet is the right one. There's really not a single fad diet out there that isn't supported and bolstered by capitalism and somebody making money. There's so much dark stuff in it. So I thought it'd be fun for us just to talk about like how our families handle food and eating out and thoughts on it, and just kind of make it more personal, and people can take it or leave it.
All right, Kristin Burritt, but I really want to know about your diet, the way that you guys eat, because I know you guys eat healthy versus.
We try. Here's the thing with that too. Like, I want to say out the gate, I love food. I love all food. I love sweets. So eating healthy for me is like something we've tried to really build into our habits. Mm-hmm. Really, it was for Tom, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now. He was just getting really weird symptoms. He was like getting lightheaded and dizzy, sometimes in the middle of concerts. And he was diagnosed with.
You said in the middle of concerts?
I know, but it was not alcohol.
His concerts.
Yes.
I thought you go to the concert, you start drinking, and then all of a sudden you get like lightheaded.
No,
No, I get it. Sorry. Continue.
thanks for that. Yeah, no, he was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is like a condition with your thyroid. And that started us on a journey reading about like things that you can do to help your thyroid. So we started at first, and I remember this vividly. The one big thing they said is that gluten supposedly can cause inflammation in your body. And so if part of the problem is that his thyroid was like horribly inflamed, so it's like swollen and couldn't function right. And so gluten is an irritant to that, right? Well, we're like a huge bread eating family. I mean, we tried low carb here and there when everyone was going low carb, but like we're bread eaters, you know? So to go gluten free was like, oh no.
It's been difficult.
But for Tom, I wasn't going to let Tom do it alone. So we did. We started with getting gluten free. And then I started having some health issues, and it's a different viral condition called Epstein-Barr, which is like the same virus as mono. It's the same virus. It's just some people, when they get mono, like as teenagers, it will kind of go deeper inside their body and hide out. It's the same thing if you've ever heard of shingles. Shingles is the chickenpox virus. It's the same thing. It's just chickenpox will like not 100% go away. It'll just dig deeper and hide in your body. And Epstein-Barr that's what the same as mono. So when kids
is the mono the one that you get like from saliva or kissing or stuff?
Yeah, they used to call it the kissing sickness. Yep. Because it's very common in high school and college kids. And it's contagious. So that's why it used to be called like the kissing sickness. But really, it's a virus that has gotten more and more and more common. A lot of people can sort of fight it and deal with it, and they're fine. But if you have a lot of stress, which my problem with my teaching job was stress, just horrific stress. And so the Epstein-Barr reactivated. And so I felt like I had active mono. So I just had extreme fatigue. I lost like a ton of weight without trying. And I just felt like I was dying. I mean, I was definitely a little scared when I went to the doctor, like afraid they were going to tell me I had cancer. Cause I just felt so awful, and my body was changing so fast. And so they did some tests, and it came back that I had active Epstein-Barr, which is a virus, and it causes inflammation throughout your whole body. So that just sent us on this mission of like, we don't want to just take medicines, like tons and tons of pharmaceuticals our whole life if we can avoid it. And we had heard from a few different doctors that you can eat healthier and it can vastly improve your symptoms.
Yeah.
So I'm like off all my medications. Tom only takes a little bit, just from changing our diet. So we really just went very, very like whole foods, plant-based. So not like Whole Foods, the store, though we do love Whole Foods, but just trying to cook with like the freshest, healthiest stuff we can get. And then seeking out really just balanced recipes. And in that process, my husband read about this. So this is like the Blue Zones challenge. Can you see it? By Dan Butner.
What is a blue zone?
A blue zone is a place where the community at a higher percentage routinely lives to 100 or longer, and they stay healthy and active. So it's not like 100 laying in bed somewhere, unable to move, but like active, cognitively, completely there. And
over 100.
Over 100. And so he found that there were common things in their diets and in their activity level. The common things were whole foods. So just like really good, healthy ingredients. It was not low carb, which was great to hear.
So let's tell us people like this blue zones, those are awesome actually. But I mean, do you really want to live to 100. It's,
Okay.
I mean, I guess so if you're fully in control, right?
Well, here's the thing, and I've thought about this quite a
100 is
bit.
the new 80.
Well, yeah. I mean, and my own grandmother lived well into her 90s. Like longevity runs in my family, so genetics is great. And I do want to jump in and say about the blue zones, it wasn't that they were not like vegan or vegetarian, but they only ate meat like once or twice a week. So it wasn't every single meal or like one meal a day. It was like there's like a lot of soups and breads and like a glass of red wine every day. But they just weren't the meat eaters that we tend to be in our country. But the other thing, there are other parts in the book that I just love so much were that they discovered that community played a huge part. So these people lived in these kind of like village scenarios and they walked everywhere. So they weren't going to the gym and pumping iron. They were walking everywhere they needed to go. They were interacting with their community. And so he found that to be another commonality between all the blue zones, was that the sense of community was extremely strong. So the sense of purpose for people was extremely strong, and that their physical activity came from their daily lives. Like that was their lifestyle. So whether it was cooking their meals or visiting their friends or what have you. So sometimes I can get really obsessive about exercise, especially specifically in my early 20s. I struggled terribly with an eating disorder, and it's much better, but that old line of like punishment almost thinking still pretty strong there. So like if I eat something that my brain labels as bad, then I feel like I need to punish myself by exercising it off. And it's this whole weird militant system in my brain that I've had to really try very hard to rewire. So what I've learned in the last 5 years, I'm almost done. What I've learned in the last 5 years is that is that I can get very obsessive and militant about exercise. So if I like sometimes when I start a new exercise routine, I feel those old patterns of where like I start to make these rules for myself and it becomes very unhealthy. So what the Blue Zones diet has done for me has like, and there are specials about it. You can search Dan Butner, and he's been on a bunch of different TV shows about it. So I'm sure it's easily Googleable. But you see these like adorable elderly people that just are stunningly gorgeous because they are happy and healthy and happy with their community, and they're just making their food and eating their food and walking around their neighborhood. And I'm like, that's my goal. So instead of being scared of aging, right? Scared of getting wrinkled, scared of my health declining, when I have those people as sort of my idea of like, okay, if I can do it this way, then it's not so scary. And the food tastes good. I mean, my 22-year-old has become obsessed with the food. And he like wants to know there are certain recipes he really loves. And so he like wants us to tell him when we were making them so he can come get some. So that's our journey.
Everything sounds great. The just side note on the punishment thing that you have going on in here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to see somebody. Okay, 50 Shades of Grey. you need to look out and talk to somebody. It's no more punishment, please. You know, I will say this. I will say this. I tried it. Okay, I tried to do it.
To do what?
Not necessarily become vegan, but at least.
Oh, so not the 50 Shades of Grey.
We moved on. That's another topic, or for a different podcast. But anyway, what I was trying to say is,
you've tried going vegetarian.
Yes, and well, number one, just eating healthier is way more expensive.
Yep.
like ridiculously
Undo TP.
expensive. This are the groceries, regular groceries a week. This is how much we spend.
I know. Well, that's the except
Takes
except I
your
will
whole
say
freaking
when you're
budget.
not buying meat anymore, that's when it balanced out for us because meat has gotten so expensive.
Well, right now, yeah, meat is like off the chain. It's ridiculously expensive. But yeah, I mean, goddamn. The other thing that I wanted to put out there is that my family was in Mexico and I was watching Netflix, had some time to watch TV, and I put this show on by accident. It's a documentary called The Game Changers or The Game Changer. It's been a while since I seen it. But I started watching the documentary and how all these people that used to eat a lot of meat, they started going vegetarian, and how they feel much better, more energy. They can go on for a lot more time, and just their environment changed. Their whole ecosystem, the whole environment changed. And they are, like you said, they are living longer. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to make this change and I'm going to do it and I'm going to have more energy. But you need to have if you're going to make a change that big, you need to have some support.
Yeah.
And something that you said that was really important that I really liked was that, okay, so Tom had the issue going on with his concerts, right?
Yeah.
Where he was
The
feeling
dizzy
lightheaded,
spells. Yeah.
but you ended up supporting him and saying like, hey, you know what? You're not doing this alone. And by him just having that support, he was already I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he already had like 50% of it uh, going for him already. You know what I mean? That support means a lot because you can't just change your diet like that. You need help. And if you have support, that's great. And if your family is there to do that, that's even better because, man, I was trying this healthy food. And yes, it looks good, but when you have your family members sitting across from you eating a delicious carne asada or, you know, ceviche or, some tortitas, tamales, and you're here with a plate of lettuce, you're like, oh man, this is tougher than I thought.
Oh,
And
for sure.
yeah, so
But I will say, you know, with Blue Zones, not sponsored, but would love to be. Uh, Blue Zones, it's not all green salad like on your plate. Like, there are some really hearty like soups and stews. So I don't love salads. What I do is I start my day with a smoothie, like this super smoothie. And part of this was because my youngest child hates vegetables. So I knew that for his body to grow and be healthy, like he needed vegetables. So I start with wild blueberries because they're actually higher in antioxidants than regular blueberries, and mangoes because great vitamin C, and bananas because it's got all sorts of good potassium and stuff. Then I put in spinach, which you don't even taste because of all the fruits. And then I put in orange juice and some coconut water, so it's not just straight orange juice. And then I've got some different like powdered greens, it's like a spirulina and like a barley, but that, which sounds scary and awful and looks scary when you get them, but it's just super, super potent versions of what we would get if you ate salads all day long, And so I'm just like putting scoops of those in there, which again, with the banana and the blueberry and the orange juice, and you don't taste it. It just tastes like orange juice, really, is what it tastes like.
interesting.
And so we start our whole family starts with that in the morning. And we don't really eat solid food before noon. So it's just that smoothie in general. And that's supposed to help it helps we already definitely feel it. It helps your liver a little bit, have more time to digest whatever you had eaten the night before. Okay. So it kind of gives your body a little bit more of a break. Gives me tons of energy. But But then the rest of my day, I'm eating things that are way more fun. I mean, we have found ways to make the food fun. And we can eat almost anywhere. That was another thing that, slowly it's been a process of figuring out things we can order no matter where we go. Because we don't ever want to be those vegans that like make all of our friends go to vegan restaurants for us. That's like the worst. That's not, how we want to be. So yeah, but also I think it helps. So Tom's hobby is cooking. Like he really loves it. And so when he got super into this Blue Zone stuff, it was really like 1 month of changing over our pantry to have some of the common ingredients. And then our grocery bills became less expensive. And he really enjoys cooking it. So
What does this guy? He does everything. What does he not? He does not do. I mean, he coffee. He plays the freaking drums. He loves to cook. Apparently, he's really good being the handyman at the house. I mean, dude.
I married so up. I am way over my skis.
Hats off to that guy.
Yeah, actually, he is like, and he's impossible to hate because he's like a really good, kind, humble guy. Like that's like some of our closest friends like make jokes all the time about like, of course Tom did this because Tom's perfect. Like it's turned it into a joke, and it's true, but it's hard to be like, imagine being Tom's sons. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
hard to follow in those footsteps. He has like great and healthy relationships with the boys, but it hasn't always been easy to be a dad's shadow. But they're going to Dallas to see a Stars and Sabres hockey game this weekend. So I'm excited. They're going on a boys trip.
That's cool. Hey, so one quick question. So there's people like you who become vegetarian because you want to eat healthier, you want to have more energy, you want to look younger, all the perks that come with eating healthier. But there's also people that become vegetarian, and pardon me, I didn't mean to laugh. It's just they just don't like the killing of animals.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
I
respect it.
I found out more of that, sort of the darker side of the meat industry after I had already become vegetarian. But it probably would have pushed me there if I didn't know. And some of it isn't just that the animals are treated like really, really terribly, but also it's there are racial issues. There are places where like the runoff of animal waste is poisoning the surrounding communities, and those communities are higher rates of minorities, and so nobody's paying attention, and those people are getting cancer and dying. So this is like actually like pig farms are unfortunately the worst, but even some major beef places too. But the things that they're using even just to raise the food for the animals, they're using pesticides and everything and causing dangerous things in the runoff. So it's like, yes, I have a hard time because animals are cute and I like them and I don't want to eat them anymore. That I struggle with that. But then realizing that the industries themselves, there's just some really, really dark stories there, And so I do think of that. I don't think I can go back because of that. I mean, every once in a while I will miss a burger, but like the Beyond burgers, there are like substitutes that taste almost exactly like it. So I don't even really miss that anymore. I mean, they've gotten really good. You'd be
really close.
You'd be shocked. Yeah.
Really? How do you feel when, I guess with you it'll be fine, but when there's like a person that went vegetarian because of the killing of animals, and then you're really good friends and you go to this restaurant, but this person orders obviously their veggie plate, and then their friend orders that nice juicy hamburger. I wonder, like, I guess what goes through their mind. Like, oh my God, how am I friends with this person? I guess I don't know, because there's so much that goes into it.
Some people are definitely really hardcore and they can't even really associate with those people. I think one huge misconception, because Kayla actually went vegetarian first, like years before us. And she's always been a little anemic. So I was really worried. I was like, where are you going to get your protein? And that's when, she had done some research and I found out that it's not the actual meat of the animal that's giving you protein. It's the greens that they're eating.
Yeah.
That's the protein. So you don't need the animal to be able to get it. Like you can go right to the greens and get the protein. You know what I'm saying? So like I always thought it was like something in the actual like flesh of the animal that was the protein, but it's not. It's just what they're eating. So you can cut out the middleman. But my feeling is I'm just not going to be I choose not to judge people that way. Like you have to make decisions for you in your own time, in your own ways, with, seeking your own knowledge. I don't think I'm better or smarter than anyone either because I'm vegetarian. I'm not about that. Like I learned things for specific health reasons and this is working for us. And we also care very much about equality and diversity. And so when those two things, when we realized that they were like overlapping, we were like, well, this is a decision for us. But I respect that everybody has the right to make their own decision, especially living in Texas, David. Like there are tons. I grew up in Pennsylvania where there's a lot of dairy farms. So that was a way of life. Like I understand that. And I understand that Texas ranching and Texas beef has generations of history behind it. And so I understand that. I do. I think I just get sad when capitalism I feel like capitalism can poison it, can take something that we're like respected family industries and just have some awful things happen sometimes. But everybody's got to kind of make their own decision, Yeah,
but the important thing here is, or you made a key point, is that, hey, you're vegetarian. I respect the way you want to eat, and it doesn't bother me at all. Why don't you do the same? If it's not food that's going into your stomach, and I want to eat my steak, it shouldn't bother you. I get though where the mindset will come from that person, because they're in a whole different level, right? They're about, what's going on behind the scenes, like how that meat got to your plate.
Well, and I don't want to be like, David, you need to know that. If you were like, hey, tell me about this, I'd be like, I'd tell you anything you wanted to know, but I'm never going to be like,
Thank you for not judging me.
I mean, not about that.
I appreciate you. Hey, so what?
I did want to say one other thing.
What's up?
So there's another guy he's got a podcast and stuff. His name is Dr. Amen, like literally like Amen, Amen,
Okay.
Dr. Amen. And he does fascinating research on the brain and fascinating research on how diet affects the brain. And he has really helped to heal people from some crazy conditions that turned out to be like diet related. But one of them is actually sugar. He like never, ever, ever, ever has sugar because he thinks it's so bad for the brain. And that's like a big struggle for me. I will try and do like maple syrup, or, I'll try and find like the least processed version I can, but I still have such a sweet tooth. So that one's really, really hard for me. But if you're interested on that, he also does a ton of things on like concussions. He's like, if you love your child, they should never play football. And I'm like, oh, I live in Texas. I mean, my boys weren't interested in football, but because they were in the marching band. But he's found some really amazing things. And the cool thing is, even if there's already been damage done, either from physical activity or from a diet, like he says making small changes you can heal even if you're super old.
Yeah.
But
No, we have a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just, at the end of the day though, I'm really trying to get away from. I refuse to be scared of aging anymore. I refuse to be scared of that I'm a little fluffier than I used to be, and that I've got some more wrinkles and lines and some white hairs popping up. Like I'm so lucky that I have lived this long. And I'm so lucky that this body is still functioning as well as it does, right? So that's just like kind of on when I turned 50, that really became like a new mission for me to try and in my own little circles, in my own little sphere of influence, to just try and change the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, embrace it. Embrace it. I think. I mean, you look great. Embrace the whites coming out. That's it's just those are just signs of experience. So, nothing wrong with that. I was gonna say something, and we do have a client actually in for real estate that cut off the sugar for the most part. And I mean this simply, I admire this guy because he was he was a big boy. He was a big boy, and the change, he just something happened in his life where he just said, you know what, I'm gonna do something about it, and he started cutting off sugars. The guy right now is unrecognizable. He looks amazing. I don't want to say any names, but I think you know who we're talking about. But you never met him when he was big, and the commitment. I mean, because I tried to do that once, and it's just extremely hard.
Well,
My
especially because
mindset.
it's addictive though. Sugar is totally an addicting also.
Yeah, and even my mind wasn't even. Your mindset needs to be 100%
Yeah.
focused, and when you try to do something like that. So yeah, if anybody ever wants to hear some good restaurants, where to go, uh, call Kristin Burritt. She's got a lot of good options for you.
Well, and like kind of what I mentioned. So, we're meeting our friends tonight in this balmy, warm February weather. And they're so sweet because they're like, well, you guys pick because you guys have the diet,
So you are going out then?
Yeah,
for a
we
restaurant?
are. We'll figure something out. But we can eat, like I said, we can eat almost anywhere because we've just figured it out. Like, and it was hard at first, but yeah. So that's where I'm at. So that's and at the end of the day, if I can encourage one person to check out the blue zones, I just do think there's a lot of really interesting facts there. And it takes out the whole anything that might be a fad or just a craze or something that's popular for this reason or that reason. And if you think back on it, I mean, I've lived through enough decades to remember when we thought high carb, low fat was the way. And then it became high fat, low carb, and it's been in many iterations of it. And so I like that the science with the blue zones is just so much older. Like this is somebody who's studied for a really long time and just studied the whole world. So that's what I like about it.
So maybe we could do something like, hey, listeners, if you ever want to talk about the Blue Zones restaurants for Blue Zones, contact Kristin Burritt.
Yes,
You
I would love
learn
to.
about the red zones, you contact Dave and Negrete. You learn about the chimichangas and the ceviche and the taquitos de carne asada with salsita and some tamales and tortas. Woo! What time is it? Time to go eat. You contact
yes, it's past lunch.
Negrete, this guy right here. Anyway, hey, what is going to be our topic for next week?
So next week, we're going to be a little bit more real estate-y in that we're going to talk about things that are coming. What is happening.
I like it. So a little bit about, do you know a little bit about real estate?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I just passed my 1 year mark.
Congratulations.
I don't know if you saw my post, but this is very exciting.
But you have way more experience than that just from hanging out with.
Oh, yeah. No, it was a few years before that. Yeah, because I did staging and hanging out.
It's just passing your test was just nothing. You
The
have your
last
age.
step.
It's
Yeah.
what counts, to be honest.
All right, I could talk to you all day, but we
Yeah, same
should
here.
move on with our lives. So,
Yes. Just a
all
quick shout
right.
out. Just a quick shout out, really quick. If you haven't done so, and you want to be part of the community, and you want to comment and have your voice heard, join us on our Facebook group, Real Austin, Real Talk.
You can also like and subscribe on YouTube.
It sounded so natural.
I know.
You can also.
You can also.
Cool.
All right, my
All right,
friend.
hey, pleasure talking to you. Pleasure. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will be
Thanks.
in touch. See you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Toodles.